What a beautiful thing it is to come together in community. Really loving this opportunity. So, my name is Michelle Yasuda, and I'm the program director for the Big Leap Home. And the Big Leap Home is an offering from the Foundation for Conscious Living. And the foundation is really interested in creating caring communities. And so this is one of the ways that we do that, by discovering and learning together. So I'm really excited to have you joining us this morning. And I would really love to share an appreciation for each of our facilitators today. So I'll start with Crystal. Crystal, I experience you as a dynamic, bubbly, just a presence of light is how I experience you. And I love how you love to learn and grow with others. And I really notice that you're always available for learning and growing. So love that about you. Yeah. And Audrey, you are someone that I think of when I think of the first time I walked in a training. And you were at the front of the training on the side, and you gave such a presence of here I am, and a feeling of like, and I'm so glad you're here. It's like an inclusive, here I am and there are you, and we're here to learn together. And I feel like from that moment on, I have learned so much from you and really appreciate your deep wisdom and just your grounded presence. Really, really love that in you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the call over to both of you and we can get started.
Welcome to matching.
Oops, I put the wrong spotlight. I love that about Zoom, by the way. People jump around as soon as you move one person. All right, so I'm going to try this one more time. There we go. Yay! Yay, good job.
So yeah, matching. First of all, Audrey, I appreciate you for co-creating this with you. It is like the easiest thing I think I've ever done. Like I usually get really nervous when I teach anything, yoga or anything, and I'm like, I feel just tender in my heart and soft through my belly, and yeah, like gentle with myself right now. Speaking of matching, that's basically matching. Like, the first time I ever.
Oh, you go. Keep going.
The first time
I was telling Katie yesterday that matching is one of my favorite things. Mm-hmm. So, and if you were to be a little, like, I don't want to say fly on the wall, a little bird on the mantle, that sounds a little nicer. In my house, you would see me doing this all the time. Because to me, I have a strong commitment to this sense of like harmony in my system, in my body, in my energetic system. And so matching to me is one of those activities. It's sort of natural now. So the more I've done it, the more it just is kind of what happens. But the practice of it to kind of harmonize and balance my system so that I can be really in the middle of myself and moving in whatever direction I'm choosing. And so you'd see me doing little dances and movements and making sounds and finding music to match what I'm feeling. So it's one of the things that I just find as a incredibly practical activity and also effective. So one of the things for me as a facilitator and a coach is that I'm committed to sharing what works. So not just what's a good idea, but what I've used and that I find really works. And this is one of those things that is so effective and so simple. And because it's simple, it's sometimes the hardest thing to remember. Because I want to go to all these like complicated things, but I'm feeling excited about sharing this, and because I think it's just it works, and it's such a cool thing to do, to feel, to be with myself. And Crystal, I so appreciate having the opportunity to co-lead with you, because it's really fun. And you're just so adorable. Yeah, it's fun just even looking at you. So I'm like,
thank you. Yeah, so let's look at, I put my screen on gallery so I could see everybody. And and I just want to get a read of the room here. I invite you all to, on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being meh and 5 being wahoo, take a reading of yourself, kind of match into what's going on with you. And you can hold up numbers, or you can type in the chat.
decimals are allowed.
Yeah.
Fractions.
Yeah, you can go above 5 too, if that's exciting.
Oh, yeah. And no matter where you are right now in your sense of yourself, your sense of your aliveness and well-being, I want to invite you to see if you'd be willing to have not just a bigger sense of yourself, but kind of a deeper, clearer sense of yourself as we move through this class. I got a thumbs up from Berna. I can see her thumb right there in the middle of my screen. And if you'd be willing to practice and have some, engagement with what we're presenting, and really also let it work for you.
And would you be willing to be surprised by what you discover about yourself in this practice?
One of my favorite things. Happy surprises. I'm feeling all these happy surprises now as I see different people popping on, some of which I know, some of which I've talked to, but I've never actually seen in person. It's like, oh, here you are. Just an appreciation for all of you who are here today, and for your commitment to being with yourself and to discovery, and letting this be an opportunity to learn more about yourself and to feel even more aligned with what you're here, being here and what you're here for. It's one of my favorite things to do, hang out with cool people.
And I'm appreciating all your smiles, these dimples, and yeah. So thanks for sharing your smiles with us.
So I'm going to jump in. So one of the things that I love about matching is that what I always think of, like the breath. So my breath, is that if you organize yourself now to take a few breaths, and there's of course the in breath, and then there's the out breath. And depending where you are in your system or what's going on in your life, oftentimes those two things don't even out, they don't balance out. So let's try on a couple of things. It's like, take a nice big breath in, and then just let about half of it out. And then try and take another breath in, and then just let a little bit out. And then take another breath in. And then go ahead and let it all out. But yeah. So when I feel about taking lots and lots and lots in, but not letting myself exhale, that to me is kind of the breathing example of overwhelm. Too much in, not enough out, not enough expressing. So anyone in the last 12 months feel overwhelmed? At least a little. Energetically, like so much, there's so much coming in. And then we'll try on the other swing of the pendulum, which is like exhaling all the way. And then just only taking a little bit in. And then back exhaling. And then only just a little bit. You may notice where your little bit comes in, and then one more. And I want you to notice, at least for me, when I do this, there's a particular way my body organizes itself. Like I get really flat. Can you feel that? Like there's no plumping yourself out. And that to me is the opposite end of matching, the opposite end, which is like when you're not letting yourself bring life in and you're like all expressing or all kind of out, or this also includes like all of your attention is out on other people, that there's this kind of disconnecting from your own aliveness, kind of a flatness that happens. Anyone felt that over the last 12 months or so? Where like, this is actually a really good place to do that. Fall back into all my pillows. And a challenging time to kind of find your sense of initiative. And when your breath balances, so try letting all your breath out and then taking a nice easy breath in at a pace and a rate that feels really delicious to you, and then letting it slip over into your exhale. And then letting that slip right back into an inhale. That balancing, that harmonizing of inhale and exhale. Can you feel where you both kind of a sense of ease, but also you're here? There's more presence. You can, you feel like, oh, here I am, here you are. You can have a little more access to yourself. That inhale is like feeling the experience inside you, and the exhale like you're expressing. So if you have too much inhale, not enough exhale, it's kind of alike to overwhelm. Too much exhale, not enough inhale, it's a sort of disengagement, dissociation, flatness. Ugh. So part of matching, or a big part of matching for me, is that balancing of what I'm experiencing and how and what I'm expressing. And when I can get those balanced up, then there's this sense of, I might not be like, woohoo, excited, because that's just not real all the time. It's not possible, I don't think, to be that all the time. But I have this kind of sense of, here I am. Appreciate your appreciation, Michelle, because it's so true. It's like, here I am, I'm available, and I'm ready to engage. In either one of the other ones, I'm not all the way here, and I'm not all the way ready to engage. So matching to me is one of those really simple activities that allows me to get here. So remember, you're never going to stay here. It's just not a possibility. If you want to stay present, you're setting yourself up. But it gives you a way of getting here and opening to being available for connection, whether that's connection with yourself or connection with someone else. And that to me is just the most, like, it's such a sweet spot to hang out in. I feel a little bit of like cracking in my throat, like, oh, it's so great, so beautiful. And I also, it's also really easy. So it's lovely to be excited, but I don't want to have that kind of stimulation all the time. I want to have this kind of sense of availability and presence. So, I can feel what's coming through me and act upon it, rather than sort of being all charged up or completely discharged. Yeah?
Yeah.
Gonna jump in?
Yeah, and matching with the hands is like one of the easiest, most basic ways to match, and matching your breathing with your hands. Like, this takes me back to my dive training. And so we'd be underwater, we can't talk, right? And the dive instructor, he's telling me to breathe in through my nose. In and out the nose is better, but underwater, of course. And then matching your breath out. So finding your breathing in and out the nose, but giving your hand the opportunity to match what your breath is doing. So you don't have to change your breathing. There's no need to change what's naturally occurring. You can You can follow your own breath in a way. And let your hand be the opportunity to match, expressing what's this internal experience.
I started to do it with one hand.
Yeah,
and the
one
other
hand,
really
both
wanted
hands.
to. What about me? And you might try this on with your eyes closed, noticing how you experience it with your eyes closed, which is often what people do when they're trying to tune in with themselves. But then after you get that going with your eyes closed, see if you can also let your breathing and your matching with your hands happen with your eyes open. Because you can actually match while you're driving, but you don't really want to do it with your eyes closed. I don't recommend it.
Now I'm experimenting with one hand in and the other hand out.
And then you might switch your hands. If you have a typical way you do it, let it go the way. So one of the things I also love about matching is I get to use a lot of my creativity. I get to what are some new ways I could play with matching? And we're going to give you some examples today, but allowing my body intelligence also to participate and to get creative with matching. And just take a moment as you've been playing a little bit with your hands and with your breathing. And I want you to just take a measurement. I call it inventory. Take a little inventory of your body experience right now. And notice if you feel any shifts or changes from what you may have noticed when you first arrived on the call. And if you have, you're welcome to unmute yourself. And I don't, you can raise your hand, but I'm also happy for you to just speak up. Anyone notice anything?
I feel cold, like a cold sensation. As I was doing it, I feel a little bit more at ease. My mind's a little more calmer. My body, like I want to use more of my body now, and like it just feels good. Like how you're dancing, like that's how I'm feeling right now. Like every word I'm saying, it's just going with, yeah, like it's feels good. So I started from a 2, now I'm starting to get to like a 4 now, and then it just progresses after that.
Nice. Yeah, one of the things I appreciate about that, Soda, is that, when I'm with myself, bodies are intended to move. It takes a lot of energy to keep ourselves from moving, because that's it's very unusual that you see an animal just like, still, unless they're traumatized, but
they're sleeping.
bodies are naturally organized to move. So when I'm with myself, I'll be like, oh, I'll be moving and not even like thinking I should move, because my body wants to move. So I love that you found that, like, as soon as you started to, match, which is an experience of getting really current with myself, present, current, then my body starts to move, and I'm not even thinking I should move. It's just what happens, because we are intended to move. And the rest of your body's like, I want to play. How about anyone else? What'd you notice?
I'm noticing a lot more awareness in the field around my body, and also where it's informing me where, like in my eyes, I need more breath through my eyes right now. So it's informing me where to take more breath.
Beautiful.
I want to share something. I just notice how hard it is for me to take breath in versus breathing out. It's much more easeful.
Hmm. And Abby, can you feel where it gets narrow? Oh, you jumped. Oh, there you are.
It's like a little bit below the solar plexus, like at the beginning top of the gut, like area. It's like flat board, smushed. It just doesn't want to go down beneath that.
Nice. Good noticing. Crystal, I have the thought to jump into something. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I want to appreciate you for bringing up the artistic expression of matching, and yeah, how every little thing that we do could be a little mini work of art.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm going to jump off on what Abby was saying and have everyone, so matching, if you think about inhale is the noticing, exhale is the expressing. So you inhale and notice something, and you exhale and let yourself express. And since Crystal brought up the hands, and Abby, you just had such a beautiful example of this, is I want you to inhale and notice the shape of your breath. And so some people might have breath that feels really round. It sounds like Abby, yours is a little more like hourglass, or a little, has its own shape to it. So don't try and change anything. Just let it be what it is. And I want you to take a couple of breaths just to notice. So remember, the inhale is the noticing. It's like you're bringing your attention in, just softly, like with some curiosity, like, what's the shape of my breath? And just beginning to notice that. And once you have an idea, have a sense of it, you may get one right away. I want you to let your hands sculpt the shape of your breath, however that is inside you right now. And as you're doing that, with each inhale, keep noticing, and you may notice that your sculpture changes. We're not trying to make it change, but just in the experience of it, it may change. And if it doesn't, you're not doing it wrong. It's just what's happening. And just simply get curious about what's going on inside. Like, I'm a particular lover, if you know anything about me, of the sound. The sound of wonder. I wonder what the shape of my breath is right now. You inhale and you notice. And you exhale and you express that shape through the movement of your hands. And then let yourself come in for kind of what I call a friendly landing. So just letting your attention, your awareness kind of, we're not noticing anything specific for a moment. And did anyone notice a shift in how the sculpture while they were breathing? I see a lot of opening happening in people's jaws.
Yeah, I'm appreciating the matching helped me to balance the in and the out, and the receiving of the breath, and then the giving of the breath. I wasn't trying to change how my breathing was going. It automatically found its own rhythm.
Yeah.
I love the science of breath and our bodies balancing the CO2 and the oxygen, and how the CO2 is very valuable in giving our cells the oxygen that helps carry the blood to the hemoglobin. And then I love the science of that balancing our pH, balance. So it's fascinating to me how our body is naturally seeking homeostasis, and then into parasympathetic, sympathetic stress, sympathetic stress response, parasympathetic relaxation response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tears, rhythm is changing. More tears.
Yeah, and one thing I know. One thing I love, one of the other things I love, many things I love about matching, is that I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not noticing what's necessarily what's wrong. I'm noticing what's happening and letting myself match that just as an experience. So I might be panting and it might be like, and then I can start to let the matching experience, like even let what I'm expressing inform what I'm experiencing. So I can let what I'm experiencing inform my expressing, and I can also go the other way. So, if I want to slow my breath down, I might also shift how I'm expressing, and then let my breath participate with that. So I just had noticed that my hand wanted to do this kind of infinity sign. So the noticing in, giving it my curious attention, which is very different than what's going on that needs fixing. So giving it my curious attention, and then coming out and letting myself express, and then coming in and then letting myself express. So far we've been doing it mostly with our hands. Crystal, you want to do another one maybe with sound?
Ooh, yeah. And I'm also imagining sound that is the breath. So, a simple inhale through the nose, and then maybe finding and feeling into an area of the body that might have a way it wants to express through sound.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I can feel a hum in my belly, like
Yeah, so on the next couple of inhales, just like we did earlier, let yourself just simply notice. Now, it's very familiar that as humans, one of the first things we go for is what's wrong. So what doesn't feel as good. So you can do that. In this case, it actually is totally cool to do that, but let yourself inhale and notice something. Notice a sensation in your body. Sometimes if it's challenging, I had a lot of stuff happen in my early life that being in my body was not the most pleasant experience. So you might actually notice something and place your hand there just to help you give it a little more attention. And just like Crystal was doing, noticing whatever that is that you're giving attention to that may feel challenging or a little bit tense or dense. And you're just noticing. And then as you're noticing, I want you to tune in, like on the inhale, you're noticing. On the exhale, you're going to be asking, what sound does this sensation want to make? And let yourself experiment. So there's no way to get this wrong. You're just messing around with it. You're just playing. So noticing on the inhale, and on the exhale, letting yourself make a sound that matches the frequency of the sensations. It doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to be a singer for this to happen. Let's check it out. I'm just thinking my belly is going. Blah, 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 blah.
I've been sitting in the same way for a while. My legs are going ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, and sound. I sometimes say that sound is the last frontier. It's one of the things. Like I got this a lot when I was younger. Shh, shh. So letting yourself make sound may also start really, really soft. That can be really challenging for people. So tuning in, noticing a sensation, and then giving it just even like a whispery kind of sound. Let it be soft, but enough that you're vibrating your vocal cords. And then once again, come in for a kind of satisfying completion of that one, and just notice what happens for you when you let yourself express. So this is like experience on the inhale, expressing with sound on the exhale. One of the things I notice is that as soon as I start to give myself attention, there's more of me that lights up that wants my attention. I want to talk. I want to speak.
Ooh, me, over here, over here. In the chat, I'm seeing allergy season matching with a sneeze.
Yeah, one of the things I'm noticing too is I'm seeing everyone is, and check this out, so don't take my word for it, but everyone looks like they're moving into more of what I would consider an essence pace. Can you feel that? There's kind of this like, whew. Oh, I just got a big wave of through my all up and down my body and goosebumps. Like when you're matching, you start to feel into your own essence pace. And essence pace, in fact, some of you have practiced essence pace, like that kind of groovy rhythm or tempo that you get into where you're really aware of yourself and aware of the space around you. Essence pace is actually an expression of matching. I'm matching my inner rhythm with my outer movement. It's just kind of a more whole body experience of matching. But I notice there's a lot more movement happening, and everyone seems to be having kind of an essence pace come on. And how was the sounding for people?
I'm seeing heads nod.
I like to sing, so mine came out melodically, but I do know that when there are moments where I have to go, ugh, yuck, I can do that too. So, but it's very pleasing to do this. And I have to say that when I was training with Katie, I never really learned about matching at that point in time. And so it's quite different to understand it. It comes up, and I am so grateful to have a chance to understand the principle behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love what you said also, Surya, is like sometimes it's not like, it's like, ugh. You know, and just having the sound, you know, like to me, it's like it's also an appreciation. It's a quality of appreciation of, I'm appreciating what the sensations are by giving them a sound, like letting them speak themselves. It's like, yes, welcome.
All of you is welcome. All of me is welcome. Even if I'm having a feeling of like I'm having the wrong experience, I can match that. And simply by giving that attention, my attention to whatever is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Darlene, you're raising your hand, or you're saying, me too, me too.
Yeah, I'm so wanting to share a story. That years ago, I had the privilege of having Michelle help me with personas and things while we were decluttering, because it was a sense of overwhelm for me. And I would start letting myself go. I'd go out in the room and I'd want to go, I don't know what to do. So I'm going to turn around and leave. I'm not going to do anything. But I started letting myself go, wah, wah, and I would start laughing, and then I'd start going through stuff. So I still use that one, wah, and it always makes me laugh, and it shifts. And I really love that you offered the quiet. I feel like I got in touch with a very new aspect of myself that was so young and tender, and it was. I never thought of doing it quietly. So thank you, Audrey and Crystal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the matching, like if I try and match a real sensitive sensation with a big sound, it doesn't work. You know, so experimenting with volume, experimenting with tonality. I'm a science geek, so I'm going to just drop in a little science here. Is that that there's a mid-tonal sound that causes a vibration kind of in your bones. And that mid-tonal sound, and you can play with it, you can feel it when you make it, like matching with something that has that kind of vibratory, it's like a vibratory matching there, that it moves you from your fear brain to your discovery brain. And it's sound is better than words in that case. Because when we go to words, there's a tendency to go up into our thinking mind. And this is going to be more like your body intelligence, your matching intelligence. So if you want to have something move along, you want to engage with something, and then it's like if you're moving with something, it's going to keep moving, it's going to keep flowing. If you're trying to understand it and define it with a word, sometimes it has to I get stuck in it. So the sounding actually gives it a little bit of more movement, because I haven't stuck myself in my nervous system that's trying to figure it out. All I'm doing is letting it sound itself. And it actually doesn't have to make any sense, and you don't have to understand it for it to flow. Which, even though I'm quite a smarty pants, I like understanding things. It's not the end all be all, and it's not actually as transformative as matching it and then letting it go. Letting it flow, letting it go. And then something else will come up.
What's your mid-tonal sound like, Audrey?
Well, for me, it's definitely the sound of wonder. So if you were to walk around, if you were like a little bird on my mantle, you would hear me humming pretty much all day long, all the time. Because it's like there's two actually. And if you've worked with me before, you've heard it's like, That's sort of my presencing sound, my presencing wonder sound. And then I have another one that's a little more kind of landing, which is and both of them feel really lovely in my body, which is key, because being in my body has not always been, like I said, the most pleasant place to hang out. So finding that mid-tonal sound really is a coming home experience. And matching is also that coming home. So in that inhale, I'm coming home to myself with curiosity, and my exhale or sound or matching movement, I'm saying yes to myself, and then I'm coming back and I'm saying yes to whatever I'm experiencing.
I'm seeing in the
Yep.
chat how matching is such an emotional lifesaver. How Christina writes, it moves me from what I tend to label depression into the aliveness of flow. Matching often helps me to recognize and express grief after reading the news.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. The depression, that kind of flatness, it is, if you think about like there's so much going on that you unhook and dissociate from it. It's like the disengagement with, and matching is this really beautiful invitation to begin to engage again. And you engage from a place of curiosity, from a place of ease, from a place of creativity. So when you're matching from those places, engaging becomes a little easier. And you don't have to like go from 0 to 60. You can engage at the smallest level. Like you might even find a single cell in your body. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but feeling into like a single cell somewhere in your body and letting your light attention go there on the inhale, and then letting that one cell either sculpt itself, speak itself, sound itself. You can also draw it. You can literally draw it, like put it on a piece of paper, which sometimes I like having a creative expression that I can look at. You can paint it in space. That it doesn't have to be a ginormous thing. It can be really tiny. And that makes the kind of, it's that kind of friendly clause. So how can I match in a way that's really friendly to me and invites me to come home to myself?
I really appreciate your bringing in that idea of you don't have to know. And by playing with it, I noticed in my eyes I was playing on the scale of tonality, not knowing where I was, and then just that one little light sound, somehow the resonance brings me into energy. And then it took me out of my head trying to figure it out. So thank you.
Yeah. And I love, Lisa, you're letting yourself experiment. It's like, and the sweet spot, like there's a sweet spot in matching where you get that, harmony, kind of balance, where you're like, oh, that's it. Oh, here I am. If anyone's ever used tuning forks, it's like matching is like attuning to what's happening, using some kind of creative expression, hands, colors. I also like textures, like what's the texture of something? I might just begin to describe something like, oh, it's kind of a velvety, warm syrup feeling. So that's another form of matching, describing. So we have, your hand. I love that, crystals like matching your breath, matching with sculpting with your hands, matching with sound, matching with painting out in space or literally drawing something. So you get to choose whichever way actually feels the most delicious for you. And you can experiment with things that maybe, would be outside your comfort zone, but they're still really friendly. Like I wouldn't consider myself an artist, like a visual artist, but drawing something is kind of cool because it's like, oh, I'm getting in touch with something that I would have said doesn't exist.
I was watching my niece kind of color and scribble. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, she's matching. She's 6 years old and she was just scribbling in her journal with her pencil. And I love that as a practice. Like, especially if I get angry, I can, when I'm angry, I can do a little angry scribble and match that. And I feel safe doing that. I feel comfortable. And I can ride it all the way to its edge. And same thing for, like, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm or I hear, something, and I can lay there and sculpt or paint with my hands, or if I'm having a body sensation or something, I can like put that body sensation through expressing my hands, and then I like fall asleep. My hands are in the air and I'm like, oh, I'm asleep again. So those are 2 times I really love matching, is to express on paper emotions, and then waking up in the middle of the night and matching whatever is and softening myself back to sleep.
I love how you also do like ba, 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 ba.
Yeah.
So imagine if anyone else get like busy mind, we're like, and if I'm like, in fact, I have a house guest right now. We do this all the time. We like, it just takes the serious, it takes the kind of like grip of it out, and it gives it sound. And also you also gave it movement, which is so cool. And that when I also match, and you mentioned this also, Crystal, is that when I'm scared and there's, the energy is something, is going on, or there's no energy, then when I start to match, I start to move from that fear brain to my discovery brain. And then my thought, like I like to flee up. That's where busy mind is. Like, it allows me to start to empty my mind, not empty my mind, but at least like calm it, soothe it a little bit and bring me down into my body experience. So if you tend to get busy mind, if you just let your busy mind speak itself and let your hands do your busy mind, you may notice, and you may even notice already today, that do you feel a little bit more spacious up in your brain? And if I do this for a minute, it's amazing how quickly this works, I think. I like efficiency and effectiveness. So this is one of my most efficient, effective practices to encourage me to be, and invite me down into my body experience, my body awareness, and into that, again, that place of being available, like sitting in my sweet spot where I can be available to myself and also available to connecting with others, and available to my creativity. It's a total brain break. Totally.
Anyone have anything you want to express or say, or questions about matching? Yeah, we can all match our expression all at the same time.
I don't know if it's matching, but when I wake up in the middle of the night and can't go to sleep, I hear Crystal's words say, "Sumo in your bed." And I go through my body and I feel it on the bed, and I feel the bed meeting my body, and I am asleep so thank you for that. I know it's another class, but thank you for the sumoing in bed. That's been huge in my life.
You're welcome. I don't even remember when I told you that, but
it was one of the first BLH classes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just kind of go, there's just so many different ways that you can do this. I want to just kind of name them off so that you can see it in the chat or write it down for yourselves. And really you get to do, this is a creative expression, but so I love what Crystal did, like matching your breath, the in and out of your breath with your hands, sculpting the shape of your breath, letting yourself find a sensation inside and sculpt or paint that sensation. Another one would be noticing something and letting it sound itself. So matching your inner experience with an outer sound. So using your vocal cords. To me, that's also great because it literally takes the energy from inside and it puts it into an outside expression. Scribbling is another great one. Yeah, a dominant and non-dominant hand, that can be fun. You could do them both at the same time. Another one that I love is like describing. So describing through texture, color, shape, quality of movement.
Would it have a smell?
Yeah, does it have an aroma? If it were a flavor, what flavor would it be? And all of those things are giving your inner experience your curiosity and letting yourself express. So that balancing of inner experience, outer expression, and the matching then bringing you into your own sweet spot. Any additional suggestions, Crystal? What are some of your, any other favorite ways for you?
I think I spoke to my favorite ways, the matching my feelings through actually pen on paper or marker on paper or pencil. And then in the middle of the night, matching my thoughts, matching my body sensations with my hands, or I usually don't do sound in the middle of the night with my wife next door to me, but but I might actually throw in some sounding in the middle of the night. Some soft sounding, like
sounding. I'm also a dancer, so I'm big on like, you know, dancing my hands, but usually the rest of me wants to get in on it. I'm loving Abby's doing some of her own movement. So, you know, I am also a big music lover. So I might find, I have playlists, you know, and sometimes I'll be like, what's the song that matches this feeling experience? And almost always I'll get a song in my head and then I'll go find it and play it. It's like deeply satisfying to do that. And so I'm not only hearing it, like the sound of it, but I'm also, you know, I usually can't help but let myself move with it.
yeah.
So you can do, yeah, go ahead, Janelle. Did you have a question?
Well, no, just I also do that with the music. Like I often have a song in my head and sometimes I'll go and find it. But I also have noticed for years now that I think I match through my clothing. Like I match with what color I choose to wear each day, or what shape even, or the texture of clothing I've put on my body. So that I think that that's a way that I've been matching without really realizing it. That's what that is. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Now here's a challenge. This is a happy challenge.
A task.
Since most often is my experience that I go looking for something that I would like to have be different in my body, and then I match that, and it works. So not to like, you know, that's a great thing, but I want to challenge you also to, as you're inhaling, go looking for something that feels pleasant. Shocking, right? Go looking for something that already feels good and let yourself match that. It's like, you know, radical idea. What? So matching is an attention giving. So it's a quality of giving yourself attention. So, and what you give your attention to is where your energy goes, and where you give your energy is what grows. So sometimes I'm just getting a rush of energy up my legs right now, which feels pleasant. That when I do that, the stuff that was more dense or tense goes away without me giving it attention, because I'm giving attention to the thing that already feels good. And there's something about that growing where it doesn't get rid of the other stuff. It's kind of like it embraces it. And in the embrace, you know, of the stuff that already feels good, what may be feeling a little bit more dense or tense, it like gets what it wants, just from a different angle than what I would maybe typically use. So I want to challenge you to, when you're practicing your matching, you can practice on things that feel a little bit, you know, not so great. You can practice with things that feel kind of neutral, not so good, not so bad, but also practice with things that already feel really lovely. And notice your own experience.
Yeah. Practice pleasure, practice matching your pleasure, where you feel pleasure in your body, where you feel spacious in your body, where you feel open and loose.
Yeah. And just noticing one thing, so I want to speak to it, is that when you get, when you're matching, it's an experience of coming home to yourself. What you might find is that you have some feelings that when you're all out there or you're flat, ouch, I just hit just hit my hand on my, that, and then my sense is like when you do that, what's actually coming is your opportunity to match your feeling experience. So you come home to yourself, you notice, oh, wow, I feel sad. Okay, well, how does my sadness want to sound itself? How does my sadness want to sculpt itself? So your feelings are not like you did it wrong. It's that you actually got back to yourself in a way that you can be with whatever's here.
And I'm so appreciating being with you all. And thank you so much for your attention and your willingness to play with matching. And Audrey's offering something really exciting coming up real soon. What is your...
Yeah, well, for those of you that would like to play, I am teaching an updated course called Wondercraft. Been teaching it for a few years, but this is going to be a brand new one. I'm very excited about it. And Wondercraft is an opportunity to reclaim your superpower of curiosity and wonder, and to use it in a way that turns the volume up on the life you really want to be living, and encourages you to ask really awesome big questions. Because I think questions are much more important than answers. Really good questions have a lot more power than really good answers. So this is a class that allows you to, and invites you to tune into what that is for you. And a little bit of science, a lot of practice. You'll get a lot of left brain and right brain goodies, because that's just how I roll.
Yeah. Thank you. And I am offering coaching through astrology. So looking at how the stars and planets imprint on us and shine their light and share their myths and stories with us, and how we like to, show up in the world. So our information's in the chat. And again, thank you so much for giving us your attention and being available to play. And thank you, Michelle.
That went so fast.
Yeah, it went by so fast.
Yes, very fast. Thank you both so much. I'm going to join here, and what a beautiful, beautiful class. I just feel like this, well, I'll just do this. Yes. Yeah. What good fun and such great information. And I put in the chat, there's lots of resources for matching. So it's part of our Restoring Resourcefulness Program. And so you can copy the chat or copy and paste those links. And I popped the links in for Crystal and Audrey for you to be able to find them. So thank you everyone for being with us. Thanks everyone. Let's have everybody unmute and say goodbye, and yay.
I like Muppet waves. It's one of Muppet waves.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.